Hello, 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 everybody. Thank you for coming. The 22nd of July, super exciting Saturday, and I'm with the one and only, the voice, Robin Noble. I want to thank everybody for coming and always being here, especially on a weekend. I see we have 170 people. Not too bad. Not too bad. First thing I want to bring up is been to a lot of webinars. We listened to a lot of people. I went to a webinar last night, Entrepreneur Women. I try to go to different places and listen. And after looking at everything, I realized what an open place Unpassive really is. It's if you look at the thumbnail, open arms to everyone, absolutely everyone. And I was talking to Robin about different things, like in my life. I the career that I had to work at a little harder than you typically would have, and not because I was a woman at one time. Okay, contrary to what people might think, but it was because every position I got after I started, you needed to have a college degree, and I thought, well, that kind of limits stuff, right? I'm only going to make so much unless I work overtime, and I didn't want that. So what happened was I believed, and it worked out, that if I could get the knowledge of what I was doing as good as somebody with the degree, and actually I had to do even more because they don't look at you at all unless you really, really stand out. And that's what happened to me in my career. But it worked, but it was a lot more work. I kind of understand how women feel when they get into the workplace, the regular job. You have to put that extra effort because first is they look at the man first, and then the woman. And for a woman, it's not just about the degree. They can have the exact same degree and things just didn't quite line up. Now I believe it's probably getting better, but what I want to say is passive has no barriers when it comes to your religion, what sex you are, how tall you are, what color you are, and the best of all, Robin reminded me of all, is disability seen and unseen. And I know this for a fact. It doesn't make it right, but I was involved in some kind of hiring people at some certain stages of my career. And people would come in with disabilities. And obviously, you can't discriminate. But trust me, companies discriminate. They're not going to tell you, hey, we're not letting you in here because you have epilepsy. They're not going to say that. They're not stupid. They don't want a lawsuit. But they say, well, you're very qualified. You're overqualified. They make up some other reason. And I hated it. I pushed people up to certain positions or hiring, and it always got knocked down for something like that. And I hated it. And the beauty of Unpassive is there's no walls. Yes, there's walls for certain religions or countries, or there's countries that had a certain way of life for thousands of years. I mean, you can't change that in one day. I mean, it takes time. But I want to have a discussion with Robin over what we're talking about, because we do talk about these things, and it's powerful. It's really, really powerful. So I'm going to turn it over to Robin for a little bit so I can shut up for a second and get a drink. Robin, you're on. She might be on, but I don't hear her.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for the invitation, Marty. It's wonderful to be with you. And it's so great to be with everybody else out there around the world on this Saturday afternoon. Marty's just said everything I was going to say, so I can sit back and listen to him again.
I'm sorry.
You know, we talk about workforce, we talk about women and men and equality and that sort of thing, and the gender gap in that respect and how it's changed and shifted over the last few years and decades. If we're going to talk about it just for one moment and then we're going to take all those barriers away, women still only earn about 75% as a top salary to what the men earn in the same position. So women in different countries around the world for different positions have had to fight quite a lot to get parity with being accepted and salaries and education in some places as well. So we're very, very fortunate, and I think we have to count this amongst our blessings. When we go through what we have and we're saying thank you and we do our gratitude checks and lists, the fact that we live in countries where we are accepted, where we do have freedom of speech, where women are considered equal to a greater or lesser degree in families and in the system, certainly in North America and from many countries in Europe as well. There are places around the world and different countries and even areas within countries that are quite advanced in their thoughts and their governing. There are pockets within those countries where women still are very, very much the bottom of the list of what is allowed, even to the point where animals are valued more than some women in some countries. So now that we've done this and we've said this and we honor and respect where women are in the world, now we can turn to OnPassive and say thank you yet again, because OnPassive has actually been created from the very, very start without having an identity. And that's not because we're not important, it's to make it equal in the truest sense, to have the parity, the equal side of it, of if somebody wants to join and come into OnPassive, but they might not like my voice, or they might not like my face, or they might not like the fact that I live in Canada, they have the opportunity, or they wouldn't join OnPassive, and therefore they would lose out. This way, they can go and choose to join and come into OnPassive through anybody. There's no defining, there's no way of knowing who they've come into and come in with. So really, truly, that's putting us all on equal footing and leveling out the playing field in all of this. And I think that's a very, very important thing to know and remember when we're talking about OnPassive. Marty also touched on, if I may, Marty, and please cut in or interrupt or tell me to stop at any time, but
No.
you also alluded to so many people, men and women, have been marginalized in society. They've been judged, they've been prejudiced against, they've been discriminated against because of an illness, a condition, the way they look, the way they sound. And even though we have got human rights, even though we have got rules and regulations and legal guidelines for hirings and firings within companies, as Marty said, if the interviewer doesn't like the way you are, behave, or act, they can turn around and say the position's been full, or you don't have quite enough experience, or we will contact you if a suitable position opens up. Again, let's put this in the spotlight with OnPassive. OnPassive welcomes everybody, whether you have visible or invisible disabilities, whether you are educated with a master's and at the top of your field, or whether you are somebody who's never been to school and who actually has to ask somebody else to say it and read it for you so that you can learn what's going on. And we do have people in OnPassive who are illiterate by their own ambition, by the standards that the world has set. But we've got founders, we've got affiliates in OnPassive in all these different areas, and that is so wonderful. PTSD, depression, fibromyalgia, chronic pain, MS, COPD, Parkinson's, epilepsy, even just simple aging. These are conditions that usually give a prejudice or a discrimination against. And it's even worse when you don't see the disability. People with disabilities truly have been able to come forward in leaps and bounds in society in many ways. Yes, there's still a whole part of the world that needs to adjust and work with them and to help them further. But there are so many advocates for people with disabilities, starting with their own families who are there for them and make sure that they get the best of what they can. The wheelchairs that are available, the speaking, the voice to all these wonderful, wonderful things that have come up for people like that. And I've been an advocate for people with invisible disabilities since the accident in 2004, because I live with invisible disabilities and visible disabilities. So I have PTSD, I have chronic pain, I have fibromyalgia, I have days when I cannot do anything at all. I have days when the depression is very, very intense. And the one thing that has really helped, and this is where I come from when I say the journey now, because many of you who have heard me over the many months knew that I could not use the word journey. I have actually been helped by On Passive and by the patience and kindness of all of you and so many others who may or may not hear this recording, in allowing me to speak, allowing me to put my thoughts together again after the injuries that I sustained and the traumas of mental, physical, spoken in my life from that accident. So I'm not dwelling on that part of it, but I want to be here as an advocate so that people who hear this, who know people who have got invisible disabilities or conditions that make them feel very self-conscious and make them feel as if they cannot do anything, because quite frankly, we are made to feel less than. It's not always deliberate, but sometimes it's the terminology of a doctor, or it's the way we've had to have an interview, or we've done our very, very best, and we are made to feel less than. I have not encountered that in On Passive. And I'm one of many who have got invisible disabilities, as I've been finding out as I talk about this and as I bring this forward. So I'm grateful to all of you, and I'm grateful to Ash again, as so many of us are, because of his vision in creating this. It might take me a little bit longer to put something together or to post something or to create a reel or a story or a video, but I get it done, and I can do it on my time without judgment, without criticism, and quite frankly, with the assistance of some very, very kind people to help me complete it. And so I know that if you've got someone in your life that wants to do something but doesn't know what, or has been searching for something, please truly let them hear maybe the recording of this, because we're hoping to address a lot of this to make people feel safe and to know that they can come to On Passive without all of these horrible barriers and criticisms that they've encountered elsewhere. And hopefully, even if they don't go beyond just joining and seeing what an amazing group of people are in On Passive and are joining continuously now as customers and affiliates, and as this ripple effect goes out into the world, we are making a difference, and the difference is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger in such a positive way. Thank you, Marty.
I was becoming I was getting in a trance listening to you. I love it. Remember, think about this. People wind up as a product of their environment. Look, there's some of the sharpest people I ever met that are born in the poorest countries in the world, and they don't have the opportunities. The thing I love about On Passive is that opportunity is there. You go up to somebody that maybe lives in the street and they're a vet, they lost everything, they have some unseen disabilities, you hand them a blanket, talk to them about Unpassive, because they can be an affiliate. They can slowly build an income and become part of society again. Because trust me, there's people on the street that no longer feel comfortable around people because in a lot of cases, sad as it sounds, they're treated like crap. Where in Unpassive, everybody's treated kindly, with respect, and then Unpassive on top of that can not only make you feel good, it can change your life. And trust me, I know there's people I've talked to them that would do anything. They pray every night for something different. Yes, it's good to make them warm. Yes, it's good to give them soup. Yes, it's good to give them food. But give them a life. Give them a why. Let them come back. Because I'll tell you, you'll find people that are in situations that have nothing to do with they had no choice over it. But given the chance, given the doorway of Unpassive, some of these people will change the world. Absolutely change the world. And it's all because, and Unpassive, because Ash looked at it like he constantly looked at the other people there, over there, the woman, the man, people that had it maybe less fortunate than him. And he loved the idea of giving, but he taught us all a big lesson. I know me and Chris, because, what we were thinking about Oblast, and he said, no. You don't want a charity. You want to give them the opportunity to thrive. And Unpassive gives that opportunity. You can get in. You can make a stance. Look, it may not be in a week or 2 weeks, but anything moving up in life and making people feel good, that they're wanted, like they're wanted in society, they're making a difference. It's human instinct to be wanted. It just is, no matter what anybody tells you. That void there, that can be filled using Unpassive. It really can, and eliminate some of the stresses. And I'm not wanted. This happened to me. I'm broken. I'm damaged goods. Not true in Unpassive. Don't want to hear it. Yesterday, I was invited to a woman's entrepreneur, and I met a bunch of very smart women. But I felt out of place because I was searching for something to say, and that's not me. It usually comes natural. Because I felt, as I listened to them, it should be reversed. They should be encouraging me as much as I should be encouraging them, because they are there. They've taken lead of their lives, and people follow them, and people believe in them. They don't need some guy from New Jersey to push them. They are there. They are the ones that people are coming to. And I was very fortunate to be there. I loved what was said, but I found myself searching for words. If I have to search for words, then something's wrong. Because I believe, as I heard them and watched them and realized, some from all different countries, how strong they were, how they stood up and said, I'm going, what am I doing telling the professor how to teach? It doesn't make sense. So I was kind of lost. Believe it or not, me, Big Mouth Marty, I was lost. And, but it wasn't necessary. How men are going to uplift women. How I would uplift a woman, I would open the door to Unpassive. But these women are in Unpassive. Now, like I said, anybody can come in. Obviously, everybody, open arms. If you look at my thumbnails, open arms to everyone. And if you're watching this, I don't care how you visited somebody, you see it, and you have this issue, you say, well, that's not for me. That's not true. Because if you can form the sentence, that's not for me, it is. If you can think it's not, it is. Because listen, trust me, it doesn't hurt to get your feet wet and then dive in, because it will change lives. And you should be, whoever you are, should be part of this, because it can change your whole outlook on things. It can bring you up to the level you deserve. I hear people, I know they look, I go in and, oh, Marty's here, Marty, oh, that's creepy. Look, I know me. I appreciate it, but I'm no better than anybody else. Far from it. When I see people, I see diamonds, I see people that are so much better than me, to me. And that's what you focus on. Look, you don't need that much pride. We're all on our way to the end of this journey. But during that time, and I said this one time is really, 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 really important to me, was you'll be remembered by what you give, not by what you make. I mean, I heard some horror stories about some of the richest people in the world that after they passed, yeah, he was worth this, he was worth that. Not what he gave or she gave, what they did for society. Those are the ones you remember. How rich was Martin Luther King? Probably wasn't. If he wasn't like these guys, multi-billionaires. He was remembered for what he did, what he gave. Right? Look in history. The ones that are really remembered for good things. The ones that die and they talk about what they were worth nothing. If all you could talk about somebody when they leave this world is how much they had in their bank, something's wrong. And I think we all have a chance. And I'm talking to the women, I'm talking to the men, I'm talking to people that are disabled. Disability you can see and the ones you can't see. That's even worse. Because the only one can see is the person that's living it. Maybe you stutter. Maybe you have epilepsy. Maybe you have regular seizures or whatever. I mean, I'm passive, like Robin said, can go at the pace you want to take. There is no timeline. You get in. That's all I would tell you is get in, click that button, become a reseller, and take this journey at the speed you want. And I guarantee you can get all the help you want. That's a fact. So after yesterday and after talking to Robin, and we've talked about it before, this is the home for every living soul. We're not going to change cultures in one day. Okay, that's not going to happen. But reality is you're you. And you, no matter where you live, can make a difference in Unpassing. Because you have the skills. No matter what you were told, how you were raised, what you believe, what country you're in, what religion, you have skills and people need to hear from you, and you can and should make an impact. Whether it's with your immediate family or thousands of people, it doesn't matter. That's how you know you lived. That's how you know you lived. I remember my mom was passing away and we were praying for her to get healed. And it was time for her to go. She goes, oh, no, don't do that. I had a great life. I want to go. I did what I wanted to do. I lived what I wanted to live. Was she rich? No. But she didn't realize she was rich. Everybody talks about her to this day, and she passed away 26 years ago because she helped people. Her whole life was dedicated to helping others. Whatever she could do, she would talk to people and listen to them. My friend would come listen to her. Really. That's powerful. I'll never forget it. Never forget it. Anyway, Robin, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Listening to you, it just all falls into place again. And it reminds me of a situation that happened. Again, I had a life before Unpassive. I had a life before the accident in 2004. But when something happens to you that changes your life, it's a monumental time frame. And so you tend to judge before and after that specific event. You try and heal the event, you try and heal the emotions and everything that's tied into all of that. But sometimes that still is the demarcation point in one's life of where things shifted so dramatically. The feeling of loss, the feeling of being inadequate, the feeling of being a burden, the feeling of not producing financially or being a productive individual in society, These were all feelings that I had. And to a great extent, they have followed me in these nearly 20 years since the accident, through various things that I've tried, through various people I've spoken to. I went on job interviews and I thought I was capable to do it. And unfortunately, I wasn't. And again, I was turned away under the guise, pretense, legal loophole of I didn't have enough of the experience that they were looking for. And in my case as well, they judged me by the fact that I had been away so much and worked on the ships. And I turned it into a joke with one interviewer. And I said, well, look at me. Do you really think I'm going to be able to go back out, in this, that I was coming to be with you to offer my services with what I had learned and be part of your organization? Well, that didn't go over so well. Anyway, the long and the short of it is that a couple of weeks after I got home, after the major surgeries, and I was all bandaged up and I was not speaking properly, I had to learn to walk and talk after the accident. And it's something that I don't say very often, and it's something that, quite frankly, I forget about unless I get very tired or I'm in a lot of pain, and then I start slurring words, not because of alcohol or medication, but literally because of the way my body has healed post traumas and accident. But a few weeks after the last surgery, I was supposed to be joining a company to go and set up one of their ships to go back out into the world again. And there had been a few phone messages for me. So finally I took myself into an area that was quiet and made the phone call and spoke to the individual and virtually wrapped up the contract that, yes, I had it and I would be leaving in 3 weeks' time to go and join them on the ship. I'd be setting everything up and I would be back to my old life of exactly what I wanted and cruising again. Thank you very much. They were sending me the contract. Everything was set in stone, basically, that I was their number one tour director on board their ship. I hung up, sat on the edge of the bed again, had trouble moving to put the phone back to where it was supposed to be, looked at the cane on one side, looked at my notes that I couldn't decipher on the other side, and promptly burst into tears because I realized that I would not be able to do this. And I realized that I would not be able to do this for a very long time. And it's been 19 years. So although I might not say a lot sometimes, I do understand a lot more and at a great depth and at great loss and a great pain of some of the experiences that other people are going through, and they don't say very much, but they also don't step out and say, I'll try this again, because they've been put down so many times. And this is where Marty and I wanted to come together today in particular, because I'm actually on my own this weekend. And it's amazing how some of the old fears and the anxieties are surfacing. And being able to talk about it does help, but it's also not to be turned into a group therapy class. That's not the purpose of this particular invitation from Marty. It's looking to help other people and to have you think and be aware and have your eyes and ears open, listening to people when they talk, when they say that they're not able to do something, or they wish they could do more, or they wish they had something that they could do. Even if they don't get into on passive for the business side of it to begin with, the sense of community, the sense of family, as we've all come to call this, the sense of brotherhood and sisterhood, and the travel around the world together as we go and talk to people from different countries, it starts to help you realize, and it certainly helped me realize, that I was still important, that I still had value, that there was still something that I could do and offer and be part of. And even though I was quiet for so long, eventually I did start to talk, and many of those will turn around now and say, we wish you would stop talking sometimes, because I do go on. But I feel that this is important. And as we're talking about the people who live with disabilities, visible and invisible, and this was the main thought that both Marty and I had at the same time, we also want to bring in the relationships and friendships that there may be with people, the indigenous people of the different countries. We want to talk about the people on pensions, their seniors. We also want to talk about our veterans and anybody else that you hear making comments who feel or have been marginalized in their life, in their cities, in their villages, in their towns, in their countries, through people that they knew or the positions that they held or that they didn't have. Open yourself up to extending a hand and a kind word to them, and see if they would join on Passive. Because it's a friendship here as well as the opportunity of a business and then making money and that sort of thing. And sometimes just a friendly word, sometimes realizing that they are not invisible anymore. Somebody has actually seen them or somebody has heard them, will make a lot of difference and will make a huge shift in how their day goes. And suddenly that's one baby step moving forward. So this was, to me, very powerful in what we're talking about today. And I know for many of you, you've got connections, friends, and families, and they don't want to hear about On Passive. You know what? A lot of it is sometimes, especially if you know that they're not well or that they're going through challenges themselves, it's because of their own fear. And you know, sometimes it's just so much easier to say, no, not interested, can't do it, don't want it, because then we know that we won't be hurt by that outside wall, that outside force of people, that outside of people looking in at us and judging us. As simple as that. Criticizing, judging, discriminating, and being prejudiced against us. So we have so much power, we have so much love, we have so much heart in the collection of the people who are in On Passive. And we've all been brought together for a reason, but we've also all been drawn together and drawn to each other through the energies and the vibrations of how we all vibrate together, we all resonate together in the original message and the original mission and vision of our CEO, Mr. Ash Mufareh. So there's definitely a reason why we are all here together. And for those who don't feel comfortable with this type of conversation or where we're going with this, I am truly sorry. But I hope that you will see some of what we say in this that will help you to maybe feel more accepted or realize that everything is all right. And if you just want to stay with the business, that's fine. If you don't want to have anything to do with anybody, that's all right too. But you do have options and you do have choices. And there are some wonderful people in this world, and many of them are with us here in On Passive. The other thing too is we strive not to compete. And Ash has said recently, and Mohammed Nazal and Mohammed Kamal have also said that there's no competition between On Passive and other companies. They're not trying to overtake anybody else. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that just one of the most refreshing, relaxing, safe thoughts to actually hear? I would never really want to be part of something that was about to take over somebody else, annihilate another company, so that other people lose, so that I could gain. And I've always believed that there is enough for everybody in this world, whether it's money, whether it's food, whether it's love, whether it's friendships. How it's distributed at the moment is not done in a balanced way. But I do believe that with On Passive and with the people who are involved with On Passive, we will be making some major, major changes in all of this in the world. And I am truly thrilled, excited, and passionate about being part of On Passive and being here and part of all of this. I know I had a big part in dreaming On Passive into reality. Ash is quite a few years younger than me, and there's no way that I would have met him at the time when the accident occurred to be able to benefit from something like this. So all that I've had from the accident to now have been experiences to become kinder, to become more patient, to become more understanding, to be listening more, to be hearing more, not only through my ears, but through my eyes and through my energies of what people are saying and feeling and how they are saying it. And my life before on passive and before the accident gave me the experience to be in the world with other people, excuse me, and to see how they live and to see their hopes and goals and dreams as well. So for me, this has been a perfect blend, a perfect match, and I'm just so fortunate. Thank you, Marty.
No, thank you. A couple things I after listening to Robin, I want to add some. You know, we always hear stay away from negative people, but I want to emphasize something that I know from experience. When you go to somebody, don't confuse uh, negativity with a shield and being afraid, because they look the same, but they're two different things. The person that is afraid will automatically put it up, like Robin said. I don't want to get hurt. It's not that I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to get hurt. They've been hurt many times, and this goes for people with unseen disabilities. This goes for people that got burnt many times online. If you've been on long enough, you got burnt many times. The numbers prove it. So be patient, say a few things, you'll find out. When you get that feeling that the person is more than just has his shield up, take the time, because you'll find, in fact, I've seen it where the person that slowly lowers the shield, when they realize that you're not out to get anything. I share on passive because I think people need it, right? I think it's good for them. And that makes it so much easier to share, because when they do play the "you're trying to hook me" thing, yeah, I want you in, but it's not for the reasons you think. I have a big enough team right now. I don't have to do anything. I'll be fine. But that's not the point. I want them in. I want people in. I want them to see it. I want these people that are lost. And there's so many people lost, all countries. People in the street, they're lost, right? They have 20/20 vision in their heart. They just need to see the doorway. Show them the doorway, because that's what we are here for. We all have access to the door and to share it. You don't have to, okay? I don't want to keep repeating, you have to this, you have to do that. You don't. Every time I mention something, I get an email going, I didn't know we had to do. No. You don't. But I'm telling you, it'll feel good to give. And if you can give on passive to somebody, and down the road it changes their life for the good, you'll be glad you did. I see on passive right now already, and a lot of you see the same thing. This isn't brain surgery. Lives have been changed already, and not one dime has been given to anyone. That's pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful. And that's the part of on-passive that just blows me away. Like I said, I've been looking for on-passive since Mr. Mufaro was probably a teenager. He just wasn't ready to build it yet. And sometimes you take that path. I believe one of the reasons I respect and so in love with on-passive and Mr. Mufaro and his family and the tech team and all the people that surround him is because I did take that walk. I knew when I got in, even though it wasn't the company it is now, it's even a million times bigger. It was the heart I felt. It was that feeling I got right after I got in. Even when I was asking questions, I go, whoa, maybe I think this is it. And myself, Mike, and Dan, we hit it hard, real hard. In fact, we're in the process of even hitting it harder. But then, we wound up LC and we got more involved with everyone. And I love that even more. I love talking to everybody. I love getting involved with everybody. But we're in a good place. Don't hold it back. Hand a blanket, hand some soup, and hand them on passive. because all of that will go from a Band-Aid to a life-changing event for them, where they once again can come back and feel part of something and give them their why. And even for everybody here, I'm seeing in some of the notes, I have this, I have that, you can relate. I get it. But you know by now that you can be all that you want to be in Unpassive, all of it. Take the time, look at what's available. Don't just look at titles. This was built for me and you to go to the max in our life, to do whatever it is we want to do. And the sooner you know that, the sooner you embed that in you, look at the path Unpassive has taken from the beginning until now, and you know where they're going. You have to know where they're going. The details don't matter. We've done nothing but great things up to this point, and nothing but money coming out of the company and good causes. Before Oh Bless was even born, the company has given unbelievable amount of money to people that were in trouble, big trouble. Earthquake, we sent truckloads of stuff to people. What's going to happen when we're all in? We're all part of this giving. Oh, trust me, it'll change your life. Actually, I think it'll add years to your life. Giving makes you feel good. It really, really does. I'm going to do a couple shout outs to people. If Robin wants to say goodbye first, then I'm going to do some shout outs.
I just want to say, remember that by helping others, we're actually helping ourselves, and we're helping Unpassive to continue to expand in the best way that it can. We are helping where needed, known and unknown places, and I look forward to being able to have some envelopes pre-prepared in my purse that I'll be able to hand out in $20 denominations, little envelopes of $100 with a little message inside with a domain name that says, please join for free, and we will go from there together. Because it will be something that they will be able to build upon. There are so many people who are homeless. There are so many people who are challenged, who are incredibly intelligent. They just need to have the tool, the platform with which to be able to express themselves. And definitely I see that as being Unpassive in a very, very large way. The other thing to start thinking about too is our children. And Marty, I won't be very long, but just to get this out there to the thoughts and to have people start to look at their own communities, their own neighborhoods, their own school systems. How many remember when we were young that we had sports and activities after school, music, Maytime melodies, soccer, football practices, band practices? All of that was provided by the schools. I know where I live now, unless you're at a private school and unless you've paid an incredibly larger amount in a tuition donation for those to happen, they're not happening anywhere. The public school system has cut back on most of it, and our children are running rampant all over the place, and our grandchildren, and it's not their fault. The system is breaking down. It isn't there to be able to help them. It's not the parents' fault because the system is breaking down if they have to hold two jobs, if they're single parents. I'm not going into that dynamic of it all. I want you to think about the fact that we will very soon be able to go to community centers and offer financial support for them to start reinstating some amazing after-school activities and weekend activities, such as shop, fixing engines, or how to fine-tune your car with the car engines, or how to screw in a light bulb and do a little bit of minor electrical work around the house and a little bit of plumbing. Know what a screwdriver is. What about arts and crafts? Doing some pottery, having some paint and painting a little bit. And what about Susie Homemaker in the kitchen and learning how to boil water and how to fry an egg, how to do basic cooking skills and taking it beyond that if that's what they want to do. So these are the sort of things that I think about. This is where I go and remember the important things. Music classes, piano teachers on standby to be able to sit with students and children who want to learn to play, singing teachers, but have all of this done through the community centers so that we've got proper people that we are employing through there as well, therefore creating jobs, but also taking proper care with qualified people to look after the children and young teens who go there. And maybe that will make a difference of what happens on the street. Maybe it will lessen some of the gang activities and the anger in the children. Let's get them out. Let's get them running. Let's get them playing some sports, basketball, and that. Competitive in a way that they are a team working together, not competitive that they're going to trounce one person and focus on one person to break the team up. Let's bring back collectiveness. Let's bring back manners. Let's bring back a please and a thank you. That's not a weakening comment. It's an empowerment. It's a sign of respect. We've lost a lot of that. So let's help bring all of this back. And it's so easy to do. We start ourselves by saying thank you when somebody does something for us. Hello. It's so simple. That's how I did it with people who came on the ships and we went into countries and they didn't speak any of the languages. I taught them how to say hello, please, and thank you. They came back on board the ship afterwards and they said, I didn't know this country could be like this. I heard so many negative things about it. So just smile, just be yourselves, open your hearts, don't be afraid to say hello, and let's start spreading this out even further. Thank you, Marty. I really don't have anything to say today, and I thank you so much for inviting me to be with you.
You're welcome. Yeah, you went to the Chris School of I Have Nothing. Anyway, thank you very much. I had a great time. I'm so glad we did this, and we'll do many, many more. Trust me. Let me say some shout outs to the peeps. Roy Davies from Florida, thank you for being here. We went over about 340 people. Very nice. That's pretty nice for a Saturday. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Biplop, KB Roy, welcome. Connie Modes is always here. Valerie Korokaluk, thank you for being here. Sina MD Azalu Haig, welcome. My buddy, my friend, Big John White. I can't call him big anymore. He's medium-sized John White, keeping it high and tight, lost 70 pounds. So happy for you, John. Holly Bugs is in the house. Hello, Holly. The one and only part of the dynamic duo. Lister's in the house. Robin, a lot of people love you, they say. I was going to say, I read one where it says, I love your voice, and I went, thank you very much. And I went, oh, wait, they're talking about Robin.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you, everybody, for being so kind in the comments to both of us. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't get any comments from my voice, but hey, we'll have to live. I sound like the Cookie Monster. Or I could be on a screen the whole time I'm on. Who does that? Just kidding. Casey Zevenbergen. What's happening, Tim? The Leprechaun Dylan, a.k.a. Captain Kirk, is in the house. Truly a super Sunday. Yeah, it's a super Sunday, but today's Saturday, isn't it? I hope it is. I've been living Saturday all day. Jean Oliva, love you, Robin, Marty, thank you. Love everyone here. Oh, thank you, Jean. She's always here. I appreciate it. Chandra Manjurmder, welcome. Pat Mayberry, hello, hello, hello. Purification Toro, okay. Hello. George Luca Kamwan, Mr. Yosef Adal, Yin Yang 44.4 is always here. Appreciate it. Bitmata, same thing, always here. Kuchil Pagu, welcome. Life and Nature. Can't live without that. Lynn Nakamoto's in the house. Thank you, Lynn. She got those little planets. I love that. Maria Teresa Soto, welcome. Be Love. Frank Rowe, my brother from another mother. Ajit Roy, Mayor Ben Sode, welcome. Annie Becca Kamwa, welcome. We have Rose Maltaby. Welcome. I'm so glad you could make it. Roy McAfeel's always here. And Kylie is here an hour before we start. She never misses. The Bee is in the house. Gifty, hello. I'll probably see you tomorrow. Thank you for coming. She's always here. Madup, okay. SK Hussein. Sindandra Das, welcome. Marina Toth. Sean. Hello, Sean. Praveen Kumar. Mary Tinda. Kanbula Sandanand. Whoa. Dr. Lisa Lee, I got to chat with her the other night before last. It was great. Amit Pardhan. Kathy G.W. Costco is in the house. Thank you, Robin, she says. Well said. Graham Burt. We have, I'm getting through the names here. I'm doing good. Michael Champagne. Boom, baba, boom. J.K. Mestar. And Jerry, my brother from another mother, Nix is in the house. Martin Paris. Ooh, Martin Paris sounds so much better than Martin Degarmo. I'll switch. Sean, Alfred Smith, how you doing? Francis Tay, I think he follows me everywhere now. What a great guy he is, by the way. You ever get a chance, go to his webinar. Anthony Bonaparte, what's happening? Deborah Ruel. Curtis Strickland's in the house. And I'm done. I want to go back and thank people for super stickers. We have Francis Tay. Francis, he gives me a super sticker every day. What are you doing? Thank you, sir. Mino Miller, she's the one that bosses me around every day. Teresa Christie, thank you for the super sticker. Joe Gregor. Mino, probably see you later because you're going to have me go somewhere. I got to listen. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Thank you, everybody. Like I said, we had a really good turnout. I hope we added some value, at least get you thinking, because that's the main thing. Get people thinking what the possibilities of OnePassword really are for everyone. Absolutely everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend. Lord's will, I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same bat channel. And adios.